All right. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the Uncle Nearest live stream for the Eureka Whiskey Club subscription. I promise I haven't started before everyone else, even though I just slurred my words. I'm coming to you live from beautiful San Diego, where we're opening up another one of our restaurants. And today I have the great honor of being joined by Victoria Butler from Uncle Nearest, who is Uncle Nearest's master blender. So, Victoria, welcome. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, that would be wonderful. I'm sure our members would love to hear from you.
Well, thank you, Trevor. And thank you guys for allowing me the opportunity to join you tonight to share a few words. I am, as Trevor said, Victoria Edie Butler, and I am Nearest Green's great-great-granddaughter and the master blender for Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey. I have the distinct honor and privilege of being the first African-American female to hold that distinction. So welcome from the beautiful state of Tennessee, and I'm here to have a good time with you guys tonight.
Awesome. So we're going to get into, the whiskey that was featured in this month's basket, obviously, the Uncle Nearest 1856. We'll talk about some tasting notes, some history, kind of talk about the story of Uncle Nearest as well. It's an amazing story. But I think we got some feedback from the last month's call where a lot of people had asked to make the cocktail first. That way they have something to enjoy while they are drinking, or while they're drinking and while they're listening to Victoria and myself. So without further ado, Victoria, if it's okay with you, we're going to make the cocktail. Is that all right?
Yeah, I'm going to do it with you.
Sweet. So hopefully everyone got their ingredients ready ahead of time. I always like to add my spirit last when making a drink, just in case I mess up. That way I don't have to throw out the booze. I can just throw out the the mixers. But I'm not going to mess up, I promise.
So Trevor, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Are we doing a dry shake since we're using an egg white, or are we just...
So we're going to do a dry shake and a wet shake with ice.
Okay.
People's preferences are different. You can dry shake second, wet shake first. I like to dry shake first, but that's completely up to you. So as long as you do both, we want to froth those egg whites.
I asked that question and I forgot my egg. I got to get my egg.
Okay, go get your egg. They'll give everyone a little bit of time to get any missing ingredients you have. So you need lemon juice, orange juice, your egg, the fig marmalade that should have been included in your whiskey basket. And then hopefully you made your cinnamon simple syrup ahead of time. If not, I don't know what to tell you. And then lemon bitters if you have them at home. So we're going to start with a half ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice. Do a quarter ounce just to add some balance to the citrus of orange juice.
Eric, I'm sorry. How much orange juice?
A quarter ounce. So half ounce of lemon, quarter ounce of OJ. We're going to do 3/4 ounce of our cinnamon simple syrup. I'm going to add my teaspoon of our fig marmalade, which is absolutely delicious. I like to do a little heaping of a teaspoon, more of that flavor in there. You're going to take your egg. You could maybe have prepped this ahead of time, but I'm just going to do it in order here. So I always like to separate my egg whites, just, the whole back and forth method, just about You don't want to break the yolk. Okay. And you can do this without eggs if you want, if you're just not going to get that frothy texture. This isn't really adding any flavor to the cocktail. It's a purely texture thing. So the cocktail will still be delicious with or without it. And then I'm going to do my 1 dash of lemon bitters. Again, this is optional. If you have it at home, great. If not, you don't need it. But 1 dash of lemon bitters. Victoria, you still with me?
I am.
Okay, cool. And then obviously the good stuff. We want to use our Uncle Nearest 1856. I'm going to do 1.5 ounces. All right. So, like I said, you can wet shake now. Wet shake is with ice. Dry shake is without. I'm going to dry shake first and then wet shake. When we dry shake, it's like whipping a meringue. You're really trying to get that froth from the egg whites to add that texture. So it's a really vigorous shake. Yeah, exactly, Victoria. That's awesome. So really, you can start feeling when you're done. The shaker tin should let you know because you'll start feeling it kind of try to pop out. But it's about 10 seconds really aggressive. So should, I don't know if you can, oh shoot, as I spill the cocktail all over the bar top.
Can you see? I'm trying to show, but I'm going to do like you, so I better stop, Trevor.
Dan, can you give me a rag? I'm a klutz. I just spilled it everywhere. I was trying to show the froth and I bent the shaker a little too much.
Yeah, I was about to do the same thing.
Sorry. Thank you. See, even though I do this all the time, you know, we still make mistakes. So. I'm excited to see all the YouTube comments making fun of how I spilled a drink. So I'm just going to quickly catch myself up here. Someone grab me a drink really quick. Sorry. Luckily, I have helpers here, so. All right. Sorry about that, everybody.
Just for the record, I practiced last night.
Oh, yeah?
I like it.
That's what I get for trying to tilt it to my phone. All right. So now we're going to wet shake. All right. Everyone at home is probably halfway through their drink already, which is good.
Not quite. I'm waiting. I'm going to wait for you.
All right, and then I just have an extra cinnamon stick on the side. So
I didn't do my cinnamon stick, Eric.
oh, you're fine. I'm just.
Oh, I called you Eric, Trevor. I didn't do the
earlier,
cinnamon
so I get a little
stick.
fancy.
So
right,
how about
cheers.
that? Cheers.
So figs are in season right now, so that was kind of one of the main drivers behind
really
putting this recipe
good
together.
Did you create this?
Yeah, it's just I like to play with seasonal ingredients. So figs are in season right now. We have our fig marmalade at our restaurant that is pretty popular. So figured why not. So essentially, it's a cinnamon fig whiskey sour.
It's delicious.
Yeah. You get my froth out of my beer. All right. Well, hopefully everyone was able to follow along at home, probably faster than me because I spilled. But it's live entertainment. So we're going to just talk about a couple questions for you, Victoria, about being a master blender and kind of the history of Uncle Nearest. I think we brought Uncle Nearest on our menu very shortly after you guys hit the market. And maybe if you could just share the story of Nearest Green with everybody and how Uncle Nearest got started. And I'll pass it over to you.
Sure. Well, we have been on the market for just a little over 3 years. We hit the market in July of 2017. But to go back to how we came about, Nearest Green is the once enslaved man who taught Jack Daniel how to distill. In addition to that, he perfected the Lincoln County process. It is the charcoal mellowing process that now, since 2013, every whiskey that desires to be Tennessee whiskey has to go through the Lincoln County process. So how we were birthed, I guess that's the word you would use, is our founder and CEO, Fawn Weaver, was on vacation with her husband. Actually, he was on a business trip, and she tagged along to get in some R&R. And while in Singapore, she picked up the New York Times, and on the front page of the New York Times was a story regarding Jack Daniel and the enslaved man who taught him how to distill. Fawn Weaver, being a historian and author, was intrigued by the story, not necessarily about Jack Daniel, but the enslaved man that was really the highlight of the article. So she asked her husband to take her to Lynchburg, Tennessee. It's a small town, one red light. And her husband was not interested in doing that whatsoever. But Fawn asked him to please take her to Lynchburg, Tennessee for her 40th birthday. And so he finally relented, gave in, and off to Lynchburg, Tennessee they go from LA. They are a California couple. So they arrive in Lynchburg and they start to do the research in regards to Nearest Green and his relationship to Jack. And they find themselves at the small library in Lynchburg. And while there, of course, they stood out like a sore thumb because everybody in Lynchburg knows everyone. So phone calls were made, and before you know it, a descendant of Jack Daniel shows up at the distillery and introduces herself and starts to ask questions. And so Fawn and her husband, Keith, quickly assured her that they were not there to paint Jack Daniel in a bad light or do anything in regards to his legacy, anything negative at all. She was interested in Nearest Green. And so Jack's relative became comfortable with Fawn right away, and in turn started sharing with her who Nearest's family was in town, and then connected her with another relative. Her name is Sherry Moore, and Sherry just so happened to be the retired director of operations for Jack Daniel Distillery.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
they meet, and at the time, Sherry was selling real estate, having retired from Jack Daniel. So Sherry takes them to the house, as we refer to it, the house on the bottle. This is the Dan Call farm. That is the farm where Nearest Green met Jack Daniel. The farm where they became friends and fostered a unheard of relationship between a young white orphan boy and an enslaved black man who is 28 years older than Jack, as a matter of fact. So Sherry takes them to the farm, and on the third day that Fawn and Keith Weaver are in Lynchburg, they buy that farm. And so now it is owned by the distillery. And still, that was, Fawn didn't have any intent on making whiskey. She just wanted the history with the intent of someday writing a book and maybe even doing a movie. But she began to meet the relatives, my family, and having meetings with them. And it came about during the course of one of the meetings. Fawn um, asked a question. She posed a question. So, what do you guys think would be the best way to honor Nearest and cement his legacy? And one of the relatives responded to put his name on a bottle. And there we go from there. And 3 years later, we are the fastest growing spirit brand in history. And we are the most awarded whiskey or bourbon in 2019. We are in
Yeah, that's
all
awesome.
50 states and 10 countries. And we have an all-female executive team, and we have the first female African American owner. And so we are rocking and rolling here in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
That's so great. So there's not much documentation on Nearest Green. I know there was. Is there a book that Jack Daniels released that kind of talked about him and
Yes.
Jack's relationship?
It was written by Ben Green, no relation, of course. Is a older white man from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and he wrote the book on Jack Daniel with the help of Jack's family. And in that book, Nearest Green is mentioned, and Nearest and his sons and grandsons are mentioned more than 50 times in that book.
That's great. And can you say the name of that book one more time, just in case we have any members that are interested in picking
Well,
that up?
it is just Jack Daniel's legacy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then
I'll pop off. I'll pop off before we end, Trevor, and I'll grab a copy of that book.
oh, wonderful. And then there's not many. Like, is it true that Nearest is not? There's no known photographs of Nearest. Is that correct?
No, there isn't, and not surprising, I guess, given that he was a slave. There wasn't a lot of opportunities, I guess, to take pictures, but there are lots of pictures of his sons and his grandsons, and of course, um, my grandmother and her siblings. So it's lots of pictures, but none of Nearest Green that we know of. We have not been able to locate any of Nearest.
Well, his whiskey making was his legacy amongst his his family and his grandchildren and great grandchildren, who I'm sure he'd be very proud of everything that you're doing and the entire Uncle Nearest company is doing to honor his legacy. I just think it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And what's most important is that the whiskey is amazing as well. So
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that Uncle Nearest was the most awarded whiskey of 2019. You want to just maybe brag a little bit and share some of the accolades? And if everyone did receive on their bottle, they should have received a little story of Uncle Nearest, and there's some information in here. There's actually a cocktail in here that's very similar to the cocktail we made last month, which was the Gold Rush. But you guys call it Tennessee Gold. I'm sure it's delicious as well. But yeah, you want to talk about maybe name some of the awards that you guys won last year?
Oh my God. It's so
like,
many.
too many.
It's so many. It is.
Yeah.
We've won double gold and gold. We were in California right before COVID hit and received the best whiskey for our 1820. It is our single barrel, and unfortunately, you can only buy that at the distillery. So you guys are going to have to come visit me at the distillery when life opens back up and get you a bottle of 1820. It is our single barrel. This one here is barrel 16, and it's a 109.8 proof.
Nice. I know a lot of our subscribers love the barrel proof whiskeys. So
yeah, it's good. It really is good. It really is good. And so we launched the brand with I've signed this one already, as you can tell, it's for somebody. But we launched the brand in July of 2017 with 1856, and it is 100 proof. And it's an 8 to 14-year-old whiskey, and it's been on the market for 3 years. And then last July 2019, is when we launched the small batch. And I was the first descendant to do that. And between the second and third batch that I curated, that's when I was elevated to the first Black female master blender.
That's awesome. So, yeah. So for our subscribers that maybe don't know what a master blender does, you want to talk about what maybe what does a master blender do, and how important that is to the final product that goes in the bottle?
Well, I'm responsible for all for the curation of our 1884. And then I, of course, when other descendants, if there are some down the line, I will oversee that project as well. And then any other blend that we might decide to take on to our expression line down the road, and the responsibility of picking out the barrels for our 1820.
So what do you? When you're tasting the barrels and deciding which ones to pair with each other to have a final product that goes into a bottle, are you looking for do you have like an idea in your head of what you want the final product to be? Are you with certain whiskeys, are you looking for more bold characteristics from certain barrels, or looking for more balance, or just?
Well, of course, that rings true with the 1820, and only 1% of our barrels that are ever picked for the 1820 will become bottled and put into on the shelf for an 1820. So we're very selective in regards to that. Now, the 1884, we didn't start out with the idea of it being a consistent taste, but from everything that I hear and from what I taste as well, it has worked out to be consistent since the first batch. And I lend that to my profile, I guess. I don't go in thinking consistency, but rather what I like in regards to the whiskey. I'm fortunate in that my job is not that difficult because we start out with good juice. So the last batch that I did, I think it was 23 samples that I tasted. And I didn't dislike any of them. I just liked some of them more than others. And so I think probably each batch is a little better than the last, but the taste is pretty consistent. So I go into the lab, and there's samples laid out from the barrels that have been picked. And as I said, the last one was 23. The first time I did it last May, April, it was 36. So it varies. Likely won't be less than 23, 24 barrels that I'll be testing from. But you go in, I go in and I just test those samples, and then they are blended together, proof down to 93 proof. That is more comparable to what Nearest put in the barrel. When he was making whiskey, it was around 94 to 95 proof. Back in the day, it was in jugs, then bottles.
Yeah.
The 1884 is our closest expression to what Nearest Green did all those years ago.
So let's pivot and kind of talk about the 1856 that was featured in our basket this month. What is the significance of the year? And if you want to maybe just talk a little bit about the whiskey. And
Sure. So 1856 signifies the year that Nearest Green perfected the Lincoln County process. That is the charcoal mellowing process that every Tennessee whiskey has to go through in order to be Tennessee whiskey. All Tennessee whiskey starts out, it's basically bourbon plus another step, and that step is the charcoal mellowing process. And so, and then we take ours even to another level and go through diatomaceous earth. And so it adds on more time, and it adds on more costs. So we are indeed a premium Tennessee whiskey. And the 1856, as I said earlier, it is 100 proof, and it is aged between, it's a blend of 8 to 14-year-old whiskeys.
And can you talk about the charcoal filtration process a little bit more and what that does for
Sure.
That mellows out the whiskey?
Yes, and for the whiskey in Tennessee, it doesn't have to. The law says it has to go through charcoal mellowing, right? It doesn't say how long, how deep the charcoal has to be, but for us, it varies in how long. It could be 6 months and 14 feet of charcoal. So it drips. It is not poured. It drips from the vat into the charcoal, and it adds flavor, of course, takes out those impurities that you don't want in your whiskey. It smooths it out, gives it a more premium taste. And those things that can often give you a headache after drinking whiskey. The charcoal mellowing and the diatomaceous earth, they both remove those things that are not good in your whiskey.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it is.
It definitely tastes amazing. I'm going to transition. I won't spill this, I promise. I'm going to transition just to drinking this neat. If anybody wants to join me.
So Trevor, have you just kind of twirl it around in your glass? You can see that 1856, it'll kind of hug the glass.
Yeah, we got some legs.
Yeah, it does. It does. And then you kind of nose it and tell me what you get out of it.
I get like pecan pie. I get a little like white flour towards the end, like a jasmine almost. Obviously, caramel, burnt sugar, your classic whiskey characteristics. The oak from the barrel shines a bit, but I really love the finish because it's just this little bright pop of the in my opinion, this like white jasmine flower, and that's how I'm gonna get nerdy, I guess, by saying that, but.
No, I love it. Yeah. And you're not the first person to say that. So I love getting a whiskey fan's perspective.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. It's some cinnamon characteristic, and that's kind of why I chose to incorporate cinnamon into the cocktail. I do get a little bit of that cinnamon bark that's really nice.
We do a drink at the distillery. It's called Copper Skies. It reminds me kind of this drink that we made tonight. So
Oh yeah.
cinnamon really pairs well with the 1856. I just think it goes really well with it.
Well, I'm glad I chose it.
Me too.
And then looking at just my other tasting notes here, I'm cheating a little bit. We've got some oat cookies, some, I said brown sugar, dark chocolate, and then those baking spices, which I talked about with the cinnamon. They're really nice. Yeah, but I think it's just a phenomenal whiskey. It's I would drink this over the other Tennessee whiskey any day of the week. I won't name names, but I'm sure everyone can put two and two together.
So it has become one of your favorites?
Oh yeah, I mean, when I tried this, when we were working on a new menu, I think probably a year and a half ago, when I was taking meetings for new products. So I don't know if anybody cares, but when we put together new menus, everyone gives me a hard time and say, "Oh, your job's so hard. You have to drink whiskey and determine which one you want to put on the menu." But we take it very seriously, and we taste a ton of different whiskeys throughout the year. And I just remember the first time I tried this, it just kind of was blown away. I hadn't heard of the brand, and then after hearing the story and the history behind it, I just thought it was one. The first thing I pay attention to, regardless of history or story, is always the quality of the whiskey. And I really was really impressed the first time I had it, and kind of was just like, this is a no-brainer. This is going on the menu the next time around. And then just to see, my opinion be verified through all these awards, I'm not going to lie, it made me feel good about my palate and saying, oh,
sure.
Well, other people agree with me. So, and by no means am I a whiskey judge or anything like that. I just, it's nice to see other people appreciate the whiskey and awards being given to people and companies that deserve them for quality products. So,
well, we do strive for excellence, and that was one of the markers going out the gate, and we will continue to do that. So I'm glad that you like it, and I'm glad that others like it as well.
So what's next for Uncle Nearest? What's in the pipeline? How is Uncle Nearest taking over the whiskey world?
Well, right now, our for the last several months, our focus has been supplying PPE to those people on the front lines, and then to the communities where they are most affected with this COVID. So we have sent out more than 300,000 masks, hand sanitizer, to those people who are in need. So right now, that has been our focus. We are easing our way back out into the market. Our sales team is, but we have really been focusing on helping those who are in need. That has been our primary focus for the last 4 months now.
I think it's like 5.5 now.
Oh my God!
Yeah, mid-March.
So we don't have anything far as new expressions or anything like that, for me to share with you guys. One thing I will stress is due to the COVID. I stress that you continue to be safe. We've all had to find new ways of doing things like this. It has worked well, and I'm glad for modern technology, for this virtual platform that we can get out and still share with the people in the world about Uncle Nearest and what we're doing. But please, 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 as you go about your life, be careful. Wear your mask. Be careful out there.
Awesome. Cool. I think we'll take some questions now. If you can, people might see me fidgeting with my phone and my fingers, trying to look at these questions and keep the video up at the same time. Everyone, we got some people that saying they love the 1820. Kyle, thank you for the compliment on my floral shirt. That's awesome. Haley Brown says, "Hey, Queen V."
Hey, Haley.
So let's see. We got just a lot of huge fans. Love the whiskey, love the cocktail. I'm trying to see if there's any questions here that have come through. All right, we'll give everyone a couple minutes. But I guess I have a question.
Okay.
Being a predominantly female owned and operated distillery, and a very, probably we could agree that it's most people in the industry are probably male versus female. What would you say to up and coming females that are interested in getting into the whiskey industry? Some maybe words of advice or empowerment. I mean, obviously, yourself and Fawn are great leaders in the women's movement, and I guess I would just ask if you had any advice to someone looking to get into the whiskey industry that is the female.
Well, one of the things that for me has been just to you have to set aside the fear. I didn't come from a whiskey background. I spent more than 30 years, almost 31 years in the law enforcement realm with the federal government. And then went over to the spirits industry last year. So I think sometimes females especially, we think we can't fit in because maybe we don't know as much. I think we have to set aside those fears and those stereotypes even, especially now given what our team has done, being led by Fawn Weaver. It is a strong example, one of the best examples of what a female team can do when led in the right direction. So I think you just have to set aside your fears, learn as much as you can. Again, coming from a whole different realm of life, I've jumped in and then I started learning. I study a lot. I still study a lot. I talk to people in the industry, especially those people on our team who have years and years of experience that I can glean from, can learn from. So I think just equipping yourself with the knowledge, tapping into the knowledge and wisdom of others, and setting aside fear of failure. Because what if you don't fail?
That's awesome. That's such great advice. Yeah. And, I love it. I love seeing, just new life brought into the industry. And it's what you and Fawn and the entire team are doing over there is just nothing short of amazing. So
I agree. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I think we may have I think we may have a few more questions if you have more time for us. Is that okay?
It is fine with me.
All right. Someone asked, how many cases are you currently producing per year at the distillery?
You know what? That is not a question that I can readily answer, and I apologize for that. That would be something that Sherry Moore could more adequately give me the correct numbers on. So I don't want to say something and not be totally correct. But I will find out for sure, Trevor, and I will get that answer to you if you will pass that on to the person who's asking.
Yeah, absolutely. Shauna, if you want to reach out to me on Instagram, I can give you an answer to that. I'm not trying to shamelessly promote my handle or anything. I'm just trying to let people know how they can get a hold of me. I'm at Trevor Loves Beer on Instagram. So if anybody ever has any follow-up questions, you can always reach out to me there.
And you will know this in the morning, okay, Trevor?
All right, sounds good. Someone wants to know if 1820 is going to be Chris Deal asked if there's going to be any 1820 released outside the distillery again in the near future.
That is not the plan. If it is, I haven't been told that. There's always opportunities, of course, of a release, but I haven't been told that we're planning one in the near future.
What about the potential of a Eureka barrel pick from Uncle Nearest?
I think that's something you should talk about with Kate. I'm serious. That's something you should talk about with Kate.
Someone wants to know. So Scott asked. Obviously, you said it's it's essentially bourbon. So we're assuming there's 50. Well, not assuming it. If you're saying it's bourbon, we have to have more than 51% corn in the mash bill. Do you know the ratio of the different grains in the mash bill for most year releases?
It's 84. We start with 84% corn.
84% corn.
Yeah.
And then is it rye or wheat, or is it just depend on the expression?
No, they start out basically the same. It's 84, 4 and 4 with Riley and barley.
Cool. Elizabeth wants to know what type of barrels are used. I'm assuming they're charred American oak.
They are.
Is there anything special about the barrels? Is the charcoal sugar maple, or so anything? The charcoal is sugar maple. So she wants to know if there's anything unique about the barrels.
No.
Just charred American oak?
That's exactly what they are.
Cool. Kristen is asking, what are some other favorite drink recipes that showcase the 1856? I think, go ahead. I'll let you, I have thoughts, but I'll let you go.
Well, we have a bunch. The old fashioned is one. It makes an excellent, the 56 makes an excellent old fashioned. I'll be honest and tell you, most of the cocktails I drink, it's with the 84 because that's what I curated, and that's what I practice cocktails with the most. This our 1856 makes an excellent New York sour or just a regular whiskey sour, and we have recipes on our website. So you should go to the website and check it out and see other recipes with 1856. The penicillin is real good.
Yeah, that's what I would say. The penicillin, I agree with the old fashioned. You could even use the cinnamon syrup you made and kind of. I'd probably go less. I'd probably go about 1/3 of an ounce. I usually make my old fashions with Demerara sugar cubes, but I could see using a cinnamon simple syrup to complement the cinnamon notes and doing like a cinnamon old fashioned. So some other options here for some cocktails, which I think are great. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties here with my phone. There we go. It's hard. It wouldn't let me exit the chat. So I see. So yeah, I think that's it. I really appreciate your time. I did want to thank all of our members.
Hey, I'm curious, Trevor, because I can't see approximately how many folks do we have joining us tonight?
I can't see the numbers on my end. Usually we're able to see it after the fact, and a lot of our members that can't join live will actually watch. We record this and then put it up on our YouTube channel. So we'll usually get a lot of views on Facebook and YouTube after the fact. So I don't know off the top of my head. It looks like we probably have around 50 people right now.
That's excellent.
Awesome. And yeah, so thank you for everyone that was able to join. I did want to thank our members, just as one last thought or one last piece of information. Anytime we ramp up one of our restaurants to start the Whiskey Club, we actually donate all those proceeds to an organization that's based out of San Diego, California, which is called The Conscious Kid. And The Conscious Kid is focused on producing children's books that try to eliminate cultural and racial biases in our society. So thanks to everyone that joined. We did donate $6,500 to the
wow.
and that obviously couldn't have been done without our subscribers and our members. So thank you very much
Outstanding.
for being a member, and thank you for joining us this evening. Sorry again for spilling my cocktail, but
well, I have to applaud you on that work, Trevor. That's outstanding, and it's always good to give back. So I applaud you on what you guys are doing with the club.
Thanks. Yeah, it means a lot to us. One of our main ethos as a company is community and supporting our community. So it's always good to give back.
Absolutely.
But I'll let you go, Victoria, and thank you everyone again for joining. We look forward to drinking some more Uncle Nearest in the near future. And looks like some people are going to try to find some 1820 or go to Tennessee to get some. So
they're going to have to come visit. Of course, right now we are closed at the Welcome House due to COVID, but keep watching the website. Haley is on, and as soon as we have the green light, she'll post that on our website. And we look forward to seeing our whiskey family just as soon as it is safe to do so.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe. It was a pleasure. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night.